It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Well, welcome everyone to your school district report, and I want to thank you for the many comments we're getting on the show so far. When we put the show together, one of the most important things that I wanted to get across is that there are so many things that are happening in the Hazleton area school district, you know, one of the largest in the state of Pennsylvania. And many of us hear just bits and pieces. But I thought maybe as we would go to the series, we'd be able to highlight different areas and what's available in our school system. Of course, Dr. Brian Uplinger is the principal co-host with me. But first of all, Brian, thanks for coming on the show again.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
The first show, you know, people responded, I didn't know this, I didn't know that, because we covered how many students we have, how many teachers we have, which is like, some people say, oh my God, Sam, I never knew we had that many teachers. I never knew we had that many students. Well, over 13,000, probably be close to 14,000 in the years to come. Some of the things that we want to get across to the viewers, upcoming shows. We're here today, and I'll tell you where we are today. It's going to be an interesting show. But some of the things that you feel, Brian, that our community should know about.
Just the different programs that we have going on across the district. I'm of the philosophy that I'm not going to take anything away from a student. As long as we can afford it, we're going to put it in. We're going to keep it in. We're going to try to add to the plethora of different programs that we already have. So we just added a JROTC program. We added a new facility, as we'll talk about today, for our EI and pre-K programs. We've also added the Cyber Academy to our Laurel Mall. Just updating and keeping everything fresh and keeping our kids at the forefront of every decision that we make. So it's really important to know that every decision that the district does make is for those children.
So here's the question: is how do you know what to do? How do you know what, when you put a cyber school or whatever, how do you know what is needed?
The biggest thing that I've done in my tenure as an educator is ask the kids, what's important to you? What are we missing? What's working? What isn't working? The conversations that I've had with them, with our student council members and our elementary students, and you would think, elementary, they really don't know what they're going to go into when they grow up, but they really do. They have a good sense of what they're leaning towards. In our middle school students. So the Arts and Humanities Academy that we just recently opened was from one of those conversations, with our student council. What are we missing? We'd like other opportunities that are close to STEM. Okay, well here's a program that it took a little while to get it off the ground, but we did it, and it's really important to bring in the knowledge that those children have, and pull from that and design the program around them.
We talked last time about the fact that when you go to various meetings, whether let's call them conventions or whatever, you're able to talk to a lot of different people across the country and be able to pick up some interesting points or things that we can use in our school district. Since you've been the superintendent, have you been able to obtain any of those ideas?
Right, we have. We've been able to bring back some different ideas that would help save the district a number of dollars. Different ways to do things, different insurance companies that we may bring into the fold, different savings accounts for families and for our employees and things like that, just to and bounce ideas off of other administrators that may be at those conferences and see if they're still or seeing the things that we're seeing. And it's really important to have that networking available to us.
In terms of transparency, there's no question about it. I think we have one of the best school boards now, with all due respect to anyone who runs for a school board. But the mere fact that they are open and they are there for education, and I said, when you look at individual board members we have, you've been blessed to have some great ones. How is the board receptive to when you come in with your administration and your ideas. How do they look at that?
They're very receptive. Everything that I've asked for that pertains to to our student-centered learning has been absolutely, let's do it. You know, it may take a little while. Like I said, it took a little while to get arts and humanities in its own home, which provided that extra space at our high school level for more students to come in. They're like, yes, let's do it. Let's work out the kinks and make sure that we're doing this the right way. But they're very open. They're very receptive. They're very transparent, and it's easier, or they make my job easier when things like that occur, knowing that everything that we do is for the kids.
When I was the chairman of the board of LCC, when deans or the president would come in with a project, I would ask him, what was the research you did on the project? How much is the project going to, and what will be the results of that?
Right.
Okay, and I think that's the procedure you.
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely, and that's probably pretty much what I bring to them prior to them even asking for it.
Yeah.
Here's
Well,
what we're looking at doing, and here's all the information.
Yeah, so if I'm spending taxpayers' money, you know, I want to make sure that they're getting a return from that. It always fascinates me when I look at, sometimes people think larger isn't better, smaller is better, etc. But I think if you manage and you have the right people in the different areas, vocational, educational, STEM, if you have that under control with your different, that's why you need the assistant superintendents.
Correct,
okay?
correct.
Then everything works, such as we're here today at the Hazleton Area Academy. So tell me about this place, and then we'll talk to Laura, who is the supervisor. When you purchased this place, what was the reason of purchasing this place?
The number one reason was, again, to create some additional space that we have across the district for the needs for space across the district. This program for our early intervention students and our pre-K students was in our early learning center, which is located on the campus next to the high school across from the Career Center. The need for that space to open up was where we now have our newcomer center, grades K to 6. So this building ideally it's a great location. It was pretty much a blank slate for us to come in and renovate it to create a school out of it. And now we have close to 150 students that are here being served.
And this is one of many things that you have in the district, okay? Folks, we're doing the Hazleton Area District School Report, and every month we'll bring a different facet of what's happening in the school district. You know, sometimes, I know I talk to some people who do not have any children going to school, and yet they're paying school taxes, yes. But in the same token, you know, I think you're making an investment in your own community. So when you're looking at education, that affects everyone, whether you have children in school or not. And it's one way to look at it. Are taxes always high? Yes, okay, and that's another story when we talk about legislation, but that's not what we're here about today. We're here to tell you that the money that's being spent, you're getting a good return. We're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna talk to Laura Shook, who is the pre-K and early intervention supervisor. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. We're doing the school district report. Every month we're bringing you information on what's happening in our Hazleton Area School District, one of the largest districts in the state of Pennsylvania. I think we should know what's going on. 24/7, ssptv.com. You can watch all of our shows. Our YouTube channel, for those of you who do not have cable, should have cable. It's good for you. And also in the Hazleton area on Channel 13 and 513 24/7. We're here at the Hazleton Area Academy, another facet of learning. We spoke to Dr. Uplinger, who is the superintendent. Now we're going to talk to Laura Shook. And Laura, you're pre-K and early intervention supervisor. Big title there.
Yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all.
So I am a native of the Hazleton area community. Prior to working here, I was in the Hazleton, or I was in the Tamaqua Area School District. I was there for different facets. I started as a high school teacher. I was a special ed administrator, and then I was lucky and afforded the opportunity to work as an assistant principal in the elementary centers and then the head principal there.
So you have a little experience behind you, right?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And of course, your mom was a superintendent there.
Correct, yes. She was the superintendent for many years of Tamaqua.
And she did an excellent job.
She did.
She did an excellent job. So let's talk about this place where we are today. What is pre-K and what is early intervention?
Okay. Well, first I want to thank you for coming and giving us the opportunity to showcase this. I think it is a center that not many are familiar with, and we do a lot of great things here. We do run two separate programs. Our first program is our Pre-K Counts program. That is a state grant that we are awarded as a lead grantee here in the Hazleton community. So we have over 250 slots. We service 99 children here, and then we partner with Pixie Paradise, Country Charm down in Drums, Ann McLaughlin Sugarloaf Daycare, and then we also do the Child Development Center. So they have slots through our grant. Here in the academy, our 99 slots is separated between 5 classrooms. We service children who are pre-kindergarten age eligible, but children 3 through 4 can be eligible, but we do try to target that pre-kindergarten age to prepare them for kindergarten. Through the state grant, it is a financial constraint that you must meet, as well as some risk factors of what would maybe put them to be academic deficient prior to going into kindergarten. We're trying to really have a captured audience to help them be successful in their next stage of kindergarten.
What's the curriculum? I mean, so some people think, my God, you're sending kids 3, 4 years old. I mean, let them be children. Let them go into, kindergarten. So what's the curriculum? What's the advantage here?
We really do run a play-based type of curriculum. We have, it is a curriculum called Creative Curriculum, and it is play-based. And they're also utilizing a supplementary program, Fueling Brains, which deals with the social emotional aspect and how to become more receptive to the growing needs of that age, of being resilient and dealing with change a little bit better. So the academic side, we do the pre-kindergarten skills. Are the children going to leave here learning how to know how to read? No, but they will know their letters, and they'll know good decision-making skills. They will know the basic colors, their basic shapes, those really pre-kindergarten ready skills. But the most important skill that they learn is how to be a student, how to come into their kindergarten class and ready to learn. And the rest of that academics will follow when they hit one of our wonderful schools. Elementary programs here in district, but they'll learn and they'll know how to be a student. And that, I think, is an important skill that is taught here.
I think it's a critical stage because you're looking at shaping that child. In some cases, they're spending more time with the teacher than they're spending maybe with their parents or guardians.
Yes.
Okay? And so here again, I would be concerned about what the curriculum's all about, who's teaching what are my kids learning, all right? What are the qualifications of those teachers that you have, Brian?
Yeah.
Because you're really, at that stage, you're developing, a lot of things that they're going to live with. Am I correct in saying
Oh,
that?
absolutely. This is and again, the district is so lucky to have a program like this because we are really helping a big population. And I think the most important skill is learning how to be that student when they go on to learn how to read. So from a curricular standpoint, it is based on a lot of play, how to maybe learn how to sit for an extended period of time to retain the information that the teacher is presenting. And that's a skill that I've seen that in the digital technology world we're in, kids don't have, but when they come here, it's very little technology. We have it, but it's really learning how to be a student. So when they hit kindergarten, they are learning then how to learn.
Okay, so now you're getting students from all walks of life,
Yes.
all right? What about the discipline factor? Because you may have some children who are not really you got to settle them down a little bit. I mean, how do you control that discipline factor?
We have a partnership with the parent.
With what?
Their parents.
Okay.
So we have to have that continuous communication with them because this is now a team here. What we may see in the classroom and incorporating that parent element of how to support them here in the school as well as that home environment to have that full wraparound because the children are just learning. These are 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds who may not have been in any organized setting. They don't understand, not that they are bad, but they don't understand that we have to sit to learn. So we're here to work with the child on how to practice that skill and then how to educate the families on why this skill is important. So it really is this team perspective of meeting the needs of that child.
Boy, it's fascinating because, you know, there are some areas where you may pick up some deficiencies from a young, from one of these pre-K students that maybe the parents or guardians did not pick up.
Yeah.
Because you're spending that one-on-one time with them. Am I correct in saying that?
Absolutely. And myself and I have a wonderful team here. We have conversations with families all the time that and it might be a behavior they might not see, but demands at home are much different than demands here in a school setting. So we're able to practice those and refine those so when they do get to kindergarten, which might be a little bit of a bigger classroom, those children are going already with those skills under their hat. They know the importance of sitting for their teacher. And when we sit for our teacher, then we have the ability to learn.
So when you're looking at reports, you certainly report to the parents if there's anything happening, because I think you could really tell a lot of things happening with children, okay, in the pre-K. Do you have a measurement or where you know the students who are in pre-K and go into kindergarten, is there any difference in educational ability versus a student that did not go to pre-K?
And that is actually one of the things Dr. Uplinger has been assisting our program with, tracking the children, a better tracking way of looking at that data for future maybe programs or future assistance we might need here to better what we're doing. We could always get better, and I think that comes through that data collection. So Dr. Uplinger has been working with a program so we can track these children a little bit better to see the longevity study.
And sometimes the best teachers are the children themselves.
Right. Yeah, we learn a lot from them every day.
Yes, I mean, and they'll tell you a lot. You know, I think it's a fabulous thing, it really is.
Yeah.
Because in the world today we're living in, where parents try to do as much as they can,
yeah,
but they have their own pressures at home, you know, trying to survive and go to work and the whole bit, and they want the best for their children. And here comes this program, the pre-K program. I just think it's fabulous.
Yeah, and you know, we've been lucky. The district has had pre-K for many, many years. So the fact that we're able to broadcast it today and showcase it, I think will only benefit the program here.
I hope so. We're going to take a break, folks. We're talking to Laura Shook. We're at the Hazleton Area Academy. We come back, we'll talk about early intervention. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. This is a series, the Hazleton Area School District Report. Every month we bring you some great information. I'm here today at the Hazleton Area Academy with Dr. Brian Uplinger, who is the superintendent, and Laura Shook. She is the supervisor of the pre-K and early intervention. Now, we heard all about the pre-K, and if you're just tuning us in, you know, you can go to our YouTube channel, our website, ssptv.com. You're going to learn a lot about what's happening in the Hazleton Area School District. I know every time I do a show like this, I learn a lot. Laura, we talked about pre-K. Now let's talk about, what does early intervention mean?
So early intervention is a special education program. That is also a state and federal run program. That has special qualifications. So any child within our early intervention program has to have an evaluation through one of our evaluation teams. And what's unique with our early intervention program is more commonly you see that run through an intermediate center, but the district has been awarded that grant as well. So we actually service early intervention for not only Luzerne County, but also Wyoming counties as well. So we are throughout 2 counties. And what happens is if a family feels that there is any type of need or they're seeing any type of developmental concern, they contact our main office, and based on their home district, so if you reside here in Hazleton, you would come to this building. But if you reside, let's say in the Pittston area school district, you would go to another building, try to meet the needs of the county by being widespread. We provide an academic and speech and maybe some motor type of evaluation done to see if there is a 25% delay or more.
Okay, a couple questions.
Sure.
What are the guidelines that they give you? Some basic guidelines.
So the basic guidelines are all through the state. What we look at is we use a standardized testing. Our program here uses what's called the Battelle, and that's a standard aligned, standard deviated test. And that will check 5 different areas. We're looking at academics or cognition, motor controller, any type of adaptive, so a child putting on their jacket, communication skills, and then a social and emotional. So through the testing, if a child comes up with a 25% delay in any of those areas and is also in need of a specially designed instruction, so some of remedial skills to take with them to be successful, we would look to bring them into our program. One of the things through the state is we're trying to keep children in their early childhood learning program. So we spoke about our pre-K program. A child who may be showing some delays and we look to evaluate them, we want to keep that child within their pre-K program, their Head Start, their early learning center, wherever that might be, so we can provide the resources for their child in their natural environment.
When do you decide that they go into special education or do they stay in the mainstream?
They can stay in both. If you feel that your child is experiencing any type of delay, we welcome.
What would be some of the telltale signs that parents should be looking for?
So it's still the 3 to 5. So we're looking before beginners. So any child before they would go on to kindergarten. The big telltale sign for me is that communication piece. Are they communicating with you, whether it be verbally? Are they trying to form those words? Are they looking to interact with you if they're home? Are they looking to interact with others, their peers? But really that communication skills, children will feed off of their environment and will want to learn how to talk. Again, that academic piece, learning your letters, learning your sounds, that will all come, but it's really truly if you're seeing that communication and that social interaction, those are 2 very big milestones I tell parents to look for.
Sometimes parents are reluctant. No, it's he'll be all right, she'll be okay, and rightly so, okay. But for those parents that or guardians that are experiencing this with their children, they should, no question, at least get in contact with
Absolutely.
You, right?
The earlier that they communicate with us, the earlier exposure to any type of special education, the better your child will be off long term.
And Brian, if a parent's out there is saying, look, I think my child's a little slow in this area, nothing wrong with that, how would they get in contact with us?
They could contact our special education department. Depending on the age of the child, they may contact Ms. Shook. If they're looking for the early intervention program, they would certainly contact Ms. Shook to see what is available.
Yeah, they're welcome to contact the building. We have an online referral system, so it's 24 hours. So if you're up in the middle of the night and you think, oh my goodness, there's something that I'd like someone to look at, that would be the best way to put in that referral.
So, the few minutes I have left, so I'm looking at this as the teachers certainly have to have the best qualified teachers at that particular development ages, okay? And thank God we do, okay? And I'm not just saying that, we do. You're basically a watchdog to a degree, looking at that child, and sometimes you may see some things that are troubling, okay? How do you know what step do you go to? Do you go to, if you see something that's a little bit severe in that child, do you go to higher authority or do you go to the parents or guardians? How do you?
I think it all depends on the situation. My administrative team that I work here is always a sounding board. So a lot of times I do communicate with, if I have to go to Dr. Uplinger, I mean, I said prior to the show, he picks up my phone calls at 7 o'clock at night. But, you know, communicating with my direct supervisor, Mr. Weed, just for that advice. Luckily, I've had lots of experience in knowing when something might not be right and the avenue to take. My next line is always communicating with that parent. Sometimes parents aren't aware of what might be happening here within the school setting and what might be going on at home, because as I shared in our prior to break was demands at home are very different. So having that communication with the family and expressing exactly what we are seeing here in school, and where I know from my expertise and my experience what might be the reason for that behavior, or the reason that maybe we're not speaking, and provide families with resources. If things are not going any further, maybe communicating with our superintendent, and if there is a reason to make further phone calls or communications with other type of authorities. I'm lucky enough to have those types of trainings to know when to make those calls.
I got to tell you, Laura, it's fascinating because, you know, you're in a critical area in a child's life.
Yeah.
And boy, kudos to you and your team. I really mean that, because I guess every facet of education is so important these days. And, you know, I tell the viewers how blessed we are, because we have a school board that is tuned in, okay, for the right reasons, okay? And unfortunately, there are some school boards in the state of Pennsylvania that are not tuned in, okay, and have their own wild agendas. And Brian should be very lucky because it starts from the top, okay?
Oh, from top down, it is student-centered or child-centered, because, you know, here in this particular building, they are students, but we're teaching them how to be that student. So we are very lucky.
It's a challenge. I applaud you for that, really. I really applaud you for that. I got to tell you, Brian, you're very fortunate to have.
I am blessed.
Yeah.
I am very blessed.
And I learned a lot by these shows. I mean, I've been around a long time. I was a teacher myself. To me, you can't pay teachers enough for what they go through. Only when people see the internals say, oh my God, and you know, they really deserve their salary, you know. So we're continuing on, folks, with the Hazleton Area School District, bringing you some information. Hey, look, if you have any questions or any comments, sam@ssptv.com is my email. I'll be more than happy to, you know, bring them to Dr. Uplinger's attention, and we'll take it from there. ssptv.com. Want to thank Ken Pollock Car Dealership for being one of our sponsors, and we'll see you next time.